Hello, I'm the WebAR Nerd, and this is going to be a quick video looking at ways that you can load in assets into WebAR Studio, which is a web-based AR creation app, basically. Quite easy to use. We're just going to look at how do you prepare 3D assets to load into the engine, and also we're going to look at face tracking, how you can add different effects, sounds, interactivity, and I'll show you a few examples of the types of templates you can utilize to create AR content. This is going to be for my students as a guide for them, but it can also apply as a general guide for basic usage of WebAR Studio. You can do quite a lot with the free version of it, which is why I've chosen it primarily. But yeah, it should be a good introduction to WebAR Studio. Without further ado, we're just going to dive straight into preparing 3D assets in GLB format, which is the format you should be using for AR projects really. And I'll show you how to do that in Blender and then import them into the WebAR engine. That's it, so let's go. Okay, so to prepare a 3D model, which I'm just using a example I found, I'm going to import, and the file type I've got is FBX, so just click on FBX there, on the import tab, find the relevant file, record again, face, one final, getting it up. There we go. So select the right file and import the FBX. What? Okay, let's try this. Weird. Paste. Import of stuff type FBX. So we go there. Search the file just to make it faster because I've got too many files in here. And that face should be imported in now. Where's it gone? There we go. So you can see the model's there. Hasn't really got any material on it or anything, but again, I've got the basic model there, and I don't think this one actually comes with any. Could always add some paint, probably fill something in there, I guess. Not going to worry about that. I just want to show you how to export this out. So we don't need the camera on there because it's not required. Also not the light. So we've got that, and then to export it as a GLB, we just go to export, GLB. If you do have any materials, we want to make sure that they're imported on as well. So you go to material. Yeah, it should automatically be set to export. And one of the good things about a GLB file is it should be included within. I'm just going to put that in my documents folder for now. Let's export that. If I go to here, documents, and I should see there, face mask. We go to properties, it should say GLB. Yeah, good. Want to check it? One easy way, you can obviously open it up in Blender, but one thing that can be quite useful for seeing how it loads in a web-based context is if you put in 3JS editor. This is quite a nice little model viewer. New empty, just to get a new one up and import it in, just see how it loads in. Now obviously we might have some scaling we'd have to do within WebAR Studio, but that's fine. You can do that as you go along, but that now should be ready for importing into a WebAR scene. So do that. Yeah, so you can see now, I'll just have the light. There, we've got that mask, it's ready to go. So let's go to WebAR Studio. Just to go to the site, as I said, the good thing about WebAR Studio is it's got a nice balance of features but ease of use, because for more advanced AR projects, it would be quite difficult. But we're just going to go add a new project. We're going to have a look at face tracking first, and then we'll look at some of these others. But to start off, we're going to do face tracking. We'll go browser, because that's the only option you get with the free version. But obviously that is also the version we want to create. So create a new project. Yeah, so you can see you've already got this face here just represents the user's face, and it's set up so that it'll already know that represents. It's set up as an object basically, so it's going to do the face tracking. Now on the menu here we've got different shapes we can add, pictures we can also add in, video files, text. But we're going to want to import in our own custom 3D model, so we're going to do that. Click on that. We're going to upload a new one because that's the point of this. There's a limitation of 25 megabytes, but as you can see it's only 175 kilobytes, so that's way under the size, which is good. It's optimized. Obviously with materials that becomes a bit bigger, but that's one of the good challenges of this, is that generally you don't want, unless you've got a really highly abstract model, you want to keep it low poly with AR, because it's loading over many different types of network. It could be a mobile connection as well as Wi-Fi. Right, so that's that. So we've also got scale rotation tools, fairly typical 3D tools. Obviously it needs to be a bit bigger to fit with the, it's a bit too big now, but you want to get it so it's aligned basically with the face. So we do that. Make it smaller than that, probably a lot smaller, probably about 15. You can also edit the scaling here, which can be useful. So we'll do, maybe that's more like 15. It depends obviously on the model that you load in as well, how it's scaled. We'll do 10. And I think it might even be 5, I'm sure. So just make sure it lines up with the, probably about 5 actually. 5, 5, 5. Yeah, so that's probably going to roughly align with the size of your average person's face. Get it so you can rotate the camera around, so we're clicking and dragging like that, so you can do that. We'll get this roughly aligned on the face there. Like this, like probably about there is right, I think. Good. Now just save that. Save it. You can do on clicks, but we're not going to worry about that too much. I don't think there's any animation on it. What we can do though, just so I've shown you how to do it as well, is we can, there's no animation on it, but we can look at that in another example in a minute. Okay. You can add light sources too if you wanted to add some, you could add like a point actually, which would be quite interesting. So we could do that. Put that there. So yeah, that's fine. Right. There we go. So we've added a light source there now. So again, I can do that. So it's almost like I have to reduce the strength of that a bit, but make it down a bit. So it would also have like a little bit of a glow on it, like that, which would be quite interesting. Color, we'll just let's make it green, so it's like Halloweeny, I suppose, or a bit spooky. So we'll do that, and then you've also got an additional light source in there as well, which because the light, it has no, that, you can create interesting effects with that, with the light if you wish. So we'll do that. Probably make it a little bit darker green, I think. So it's just an eerie type of thing there. So that's that for that. Just gonna add some music as well. Not video. We'll look at that later. For now, let's just have a look at. We'll publish that quickly just so we can test it out. So this is where your phone comes in handy. So I've saved it, published it, so there's a live version you can have a look at. Now for most phones, you'll just be able to scan the QR code on your phone, but we'll let's go to view. You can see it comes up with a QR code there, which you can then scan. I go on my phone, I scan it. It gives me a link that I can then view, and I will just record my phone and I'll show you that what comes up when I scan the code. So what we should expect to see is that there's a model that loads over, but it's tracked to my face. Now obviously depends on light conditions as to how good it is and how well it tracks, but generally speaking it will work pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm recording my screen and I get the scanner up again, open it in browser. So I'm opening it in a browser so it runs on the web. And let's try again. Try again. It's weird, it doesn't work. Okay. Open a browser. My internet gone down, so. Yeah. Try again. Okay. It seems like my internet just went down for a second for some random reason. Start AR. Now, I'm loading this on a mobile connection actually, but you'll see because I made the model quite low, yeah, so it just loads up like that, and I've also got this freaky face. It's tracking relatively well, though there's a bit of interlacing on the side. And I can also take a photograph of it if I wish. But yeah, there you go, that's how freaky is that. It does look a bit freaky with the light actually, you can see what difference a bit of light makes. Now obviously you could add in different models as well. But that for the actual face tracking is how you do that. And it's actually tracking fairly well onto my actual, not a bit big hair, but it's actually more or less proper. It looks quite strange actually, especially with my beard. But yeah, you can see that in the basic sense works. And that's how you do. You can also take a photograph as well, and then you can save that. So one way you could do this in your own app is to have something tracked, like a gas mask for example. You can also add text. I'll just quickly show you how to do that. Add click text there. And then that allows you to add a bit of stylized text with whatever font. One of these font styles. You can change the font style, make it bold. You can also make that so there's an on-click there too, so you have an on-click event. This is one of the good things about this is you can put it in the middle, and you can click on here. And I can edit the text just by clicking on it. Scary face. Scary, just put scary, I don't know. I just have to make it a bit wider, but get a bit smaller like that. Save it again, publish. And then again, just go view, it should be updated in the preview. So if I just reload that again, you should see yeah, so now it loads, but it's also got a bit of text there that's scary. Obviously it stops tracking and sometimes if it loses the whole face, but again it allows you to, you see it actually does rotate around as well, so it is fixed to the position that you put it in. But yeah, you can see there it says scary. One way that you could use this in the WebAR app would be to basically, you could have some biographical information, and then, you know, it could say, you could do, for example, a gas mask, or you could have some information that comes up around about the type of gas mask it is, for example. But then, yeah, you can get creative with that, you know. One other thing I'll show, actually, because it was quite interesting, is adding some video. So I'm just going to load one from the library. Not sure of what. We'll add maybe. So yeah, you have a library that you could also import your own MP4 files if you wish to. So I'll put in rain, even though it's not really scary, it's like, it's fine. So that plane there represents the film, and obviously you're going to want to, you don't want it in front of the face really, so I'm going to make it bigger, and then we're going to have it play in the background here. We'll make it quite big actually. Now this should work quite nicely. Again, you could one way that you could use this for the World War I stuff is to have maybe a piece of newsreel playing in the background, for example. Puts it in a better, more of a context with some real life example, right? So we're going to have that in the background. We've got various things we can change here as well. Just going to loop video as well, just want it to loop around. Yeah, now let's just see what that does. Save it, publish. Obviously that does mean that it has to load that up as well, but again, this is where testing comes into play and just making sure that you can balance all that out, I suppose. Forward again. Entire screen. Now we'll just see if that changed. It should have updated automatically. We do start AR again, yeah. And now I should have a video playing behind me as well with the mask. Yep, so you can see there, though it is a bit too big and it's a bit too forward. My head's like stuck in a bunch of rain, which is quite weird. I'd have to move that a little bit, but again, you get an idea of, that's actually quite cool. So you can move it back, and it would need to ideally be a little bit further back and smaller though, because at the minute it's too, you don't really get the actual. But what I could do, so if I'll show that anyway because it's useful to show. I'll make it smaller, so I'm going to make the overall scale a bit smaller. So do that. Do it with the mouse. Actually, it's easier. Not the mouse, the properties here. So probably want to make it 40, maybe by 50 or something. Probably smaller. I want to take it back a bit. It's way too far forward, right? So I'll try that, see if it works. A lot of that with this type of thing is just testing out again. So yeah, want it more like that. It's a bit more like a cinema screen then, right? If you get what I mean. Save it again. Save it. Publish. And we'll see what that does. And it's set to loop, so it'll just loop forever. It could be a good way though to get little bits of information in the game, which can be useful. So let's open up Chrome again. Okay. Just scan it again. Get up on screen, yeah, open a browser, should be the same one. Now we should see it's a bit further back. It might still be a bit stuck in there, we don't know really until we're in it. Go entire screen, yeah, start. Get that loaded up. Now it doesn't take that long to load, just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, which is about what you want. Yeah, so you can see now it's a bit unstable still, but we've got a video file also loading in there then, along with the face tracking. There is obviously created a weird cross section of our face. We'll look at that further in, I think, when we do other types of tracking like placing models as well, because it's probably more useful in that context, right? But I just wanted to show you could do that too. So that can be a really useful thing. Alright, now I've done that, that's like an example of a face app. I'll actually take the video out because it's not very useful at this point. So I'll bin it. And let's call this face tracker mask or something. That gives that. You can also create additional scenes as well. So if you wanted like a menu screen. Oh, and we also can upload the music. So when you click on the scene there, you'll get this. So we can upload some music. I'm going to just quickly show that. I'll obviously just use a bit of music from here. Well, I'll have to upload an MP3 file. Let's try and find something fast that's under 5 megabytes. I don't know. It needs to be an MP3 file, so I'll just get one of my old tracks up and just double check it's the right size. Nope, 6 meg. So there's a little bit of a limitation there, but so you want to just upload a small file basically. I'll upload Echo Zone Alpha, it's only 3 meg. So I'll upload that, and then that music should automatically trigger upon the loading of the app basically. Music's been sent, and we can get it to repeat permanently, which will mean that it'll also just load that in on the start of the scene basically. Alright, so I think we've got the video selected done. Yeah, I'm just going to delete that because it's we don't need it, so we're going to get rid of it. Get rid of that node just by pressing the bin icon. We've got some music in there now, so again we'll just double check it one more time. The music that I've added, so we'll do that again. Scan, view it again, and go press play. Get rid of tie screen as well. Yeah. We'll just load it again. So we'll load the tofu again. We shouldn't have the video in there anymore. Now it's been updated. And we should just have some music that plays as well. Oh, that's an older version. Oh, I'm not published it, that's why. Do it again. Good. So I'll click the publish button. Click that again. Go. And then start AR. Yeah, you got some music, background music loading up then as well. So some creepy music too. Probably the mask needs bringing forward just a little bit because it breaks when I get to, we get like a bit of interlacing sometimes. Very freaky though, very Illuminati, I guess. But yeah, that's one way you can load in background music as well, which can create a lot of atmosphere. So that's that one. That's it basically for face tracking really. I mean obviously you can get imaginative creative menu screen too, but worth doing. And yeah, the music just loops around and around and around forever. Very freaky. And the light's baked into the model itself as well. We can also add it in as part of the in the editor too, but again it's probably better to have it baked in. Okay, so that's one good example of how to create a face mask filter. The rest is really up to your imagination with that one, to be honest. Let's look at a different type of project. So we're going to go add, we're going to try Slam, though this can be a little bit more complicated. And Slam, most modern phones do support Slam tracking. QR code can be useful as well for this. 360 is like, these are scenes that appear around the user. But what we'll do a basic Slam example. Geo tracking maybe not so much. We'll do 3D Configurator because it's easier. And we'll go browser. There we go. So create here. I'm just going to empty project for it. So yeah, we just need to load in our 3D model, and we'll upload one. I just have to find one for my something that'll be appropriate. Let's see, GLB done it. Okay, one of these maybe. For GLB. There you go. I'll use this because I've already got pre-done models here, which are GLB, so that was necessary for. Again, needs to be GLB. I'll try and find something which already has some animation. I think Cyber Street is a GLB. Just check that. Yeah, good. So this should be quite interesting because it's like a cyber city thing. I'm not sure if it's loaded properly there. That's weird. Said no. What happened there? Oh, yeah, should be fine. It's probably easy. Yeah. Try that one. Oh, flag. Let's try the flag. I know that's got some animation on it. There we go. So that looks like it's loading up now. And then we'll have a look at that as well. We'll have a look at the slam tracking, but like I said, it's a bit more. It's good to it, but then again, you can sometimes have issues with support for slam tracking. And most modern phones will support it. But yeah, okay, so we've got that there. Yeah, so we just got like a little flag. We're going to loop it. You can also change the speed of the animation if you want, which is quite useful. You can activate it with a click, or you can just keep run it by automatically. Well, that's too fast. I want to do that because it's quite nice and slow. We'll save that. And let's view it. So again, we'll have a look at it. And we'll go to the scan the QR code again, not that one. Good. So we'll scan it. Open in browser, and hopefully this will work. Should just load up a 3D version of that flag. It's loading over 4G. It's quite a good way to actually test out AR, is to load it over your standard 4G or 5G network, because that gives you an idea of the like, is it still loading under conditions of, you know, tougher conditions basically of loading. Just need to delete some of those older tabs. So yeah, there you go. So that's more of you can load it in AR. You've got an option to load it in AR, but it loads up as a configurator as default, so you can click that and look around. So that's that one. It's not really an AR though, that's strange. We'll have a go at the slam tracking. Again, we're going to just try and go through each one to show you what it. We're going to try slam tracking, which is the better option of the two, to be honest. So click on slam, and we'll try it with the we'll try it with browser first. I mean, at this point, really, we're more concerned with just getting used to using WebXR. It can be just choose an empty one again. Alright, so we're going to load in a 3D model again. We'll just choose one from the library so I don't have to mess around with something that's not configured already. We'll load in maybe the brain. There you go, apply model. I'm going to use that one. Plonk it about here, I think. I don't know if it's got any animation. You can add your own, yeah, let's actually have a look at ways that we can do some calls to action as well, actually. So on press, yeah, so you can do it so that when you press the object as well, you can do some basic. So we'll do it to rotate. We'll make it so it rotates for 50 seconds, which will be a bit slow. And I'll do it so it just repeats until you press it again, I think. And we're gonna go get it to rotate. Let's see, maybe scale. I don't know. I'll just keep it rotating. Get it to fade in as well. So there's all these different parameters you can play with too. Yeah, okay, so it's like yeah, oh no, don't want that. No. On click. You can also do things like link to go to different scenes as well when you. There's all sorts of interesting interactions you can make happen. So I'm going to do duration, get it to fade in, play that, play. Alright, delete that one. The interface can take a while to get used to in some respects. It's like relatively easy to get your head around, but it can occasionally be a little bit fiddly, I'd say. Anyway, let's just try and get the basics up and running first. Again, we can click on here. Yes. Get off that, yeah. We can also change the music again. We've already been through that, so I don't really point doing that. We could also look at adding things like an image. We've not looked at an image yet. Let's look at some just standard ones that are provided. Like a lot of these are more sort of interface type UI buttons, but you can also add functionality on those. So for example, you know, if you could just to swivel through several animations, you could add this along with some text, for example, and you can scale it as well. So that's a bit big, so just go scale it. And then with that, you could then scroll through different types of animation, right? So you could get that. So if this model had animation on it, you could then do it so that you could scroll through different animations, demonstrating different. Well, you know, looking at this example, if we wanted to do something like maybe it's an educational thing on the brain, and its function or whatever, right? So you could do that. That'd be quite good. Yeah, like align the text, all that sort of thing. It needs a bit high up there, so we're just going to take it down a bit. Take it down. Doesn't need to be as high as well. So we can just change that to probably like 0.5 maybe. Yeah, that's better. Actually, we'll like 0.25. Yeah, we can scale that down a bit. You can mess around in the editor with like the configuring the layouts and things. We've got the brain, it's a bit still a bit off. You know, obviously, looking in the editor is fairly easy once you get the hang of it. Click, drag, you know, pan around. Not too difficult. Go save. Publish. And let's just see if that loads up for the start. Let's get a new thing up. Right, so we'll have a test at this now. With the same way, just go view QR code, and we should get a different scene coming up, hopefully. Let's record the screen, and I'm going to go scan the QR code. And yeah, so I think with this one, because it's slam tracked, I do believe to copy the text into a browser window. I'm not sure why it's different, but it is slightly different for some reason. It might prompt me to download their software, but if it does, I'll just do that. Like that. Go. There we go. So click the open AR, start AR. Now hopefully we'll get this working. So yeah, it should just be loading in the brain, a bit of text and that UI icon. I'm doing this again over a 4G network, because then I can just see, you know, I mean, I guess a lot of the time it depends on the use case. Like, are you going to have this just being used over a Wi-Fi network, in which case that's fine, but you know, you do have to, like I said, design for it with the assumption that a lot of people are going to be trying to load these experiences up, you know, in the middle of a field somewhere or whatever. So you do want to account for optimizing your assets as much as possible. That's pretty important actually for AR, 100%. It's actually one of the main difficulties with when you're actually creating the models, is just making sure that it is optimized and will load correctly, and you're not going to get, you know, 2-minute waiting times. for loading in your models. With the slam tracking, this should prompt me once it's loaded to place the experience down somewhere. This is a fairly typical use of WebAR now that you'll see quite often, especially for edutainment type apps, where you've got to you just got to place it down, and it actually unfolds wherever and is tracked to wherever you place it down. It's taken a while, but very possibly my mobile network is very slow. It does seem to be playing up today on my phone. In the meantime, I'll do a quick demo of a photo recognition, because that's quite easy. So, and also what's quite useful is we'll do the browser again. Create AR. You can also you got project settings here as well, so you can look into all that. Like, you know, I mean, if you're doing a proper project, you might want to have be able to track the analytics, yada yada yada. And yeah, so we'll go. This was the one. Edit that. Create AR. And then you get like a few templates you can work with when you do the image overlay. So you could have a look at some of these and try and reverse engineer them if you want. Your photo album might be quite a good one. Let's have a look at this photo album. Yeah, we'll do this. You could. This would be a useful one to look at actually, because I mean, if you imagine it's loading in some videos basically, and we could use this as a starting point for experience too. So you got the 3D version of it there, the 2D version. So I've got I can change the video here. So in fact, let's just do one based on. I'll find some like video archive footage or something, right, of like MP4. Just there we go. I'll find some clips here I can just upload in. Not 13 minutes, though, that's too long. Okay, well, I'll quickly just download the smallest of these, edit some of the footage, and you could imagine you could actually have, for example, some footage playing, but you could put it into context. So, for example, you could put in. I'll just get this up quickly just to edit that down. And I'll get signed into this. Just quickly get some smaller clips because there'll be size limitations on the film, I think. But you can get some like quick little videos. Downloads. There we go. It's just waiting to load. But you can imagine, yeah, you can get some quick videos loaded in with different bits of history, and then you could also add in text, for example, where you can where's the yeah, just the 3D, plonk this up here. You know, you could then put the battle of the song, for example, the song, and then you would have an image trigger which would be triggered off, which would then put down the scene, what am I saying? Which would then make the actual experience load up properly. That needs to be a bit smaller, 0.5 maybe. Nope, too small. Oh, wrong way around. Oh, no. Nope, too big. Fill that a bit. There we go, let's put it right. Put that just over there for now. It needs to be a bit smaller too. Let's put it right. let's scale it out again. Just want it to like there. And then, for example, get that footage. No, I'm also going to select just a round-up piece of footage. It's not going to be anything actually related to the SOM necessarily, but again, it's a demo. So get that there, probably about this amount of time. I don't know exactly, but just render that out quickly. And obviously you can add whatever sound you needed to. So 49-second long clip. I'll do it. See how big 720 is going to be. So just put WebAR 1. Now that shouldn't be too big. 45 meg. Let me just check the size limitations. If it just needs to be smaller, just oh, doesn't say there is a limitation. That's good. So where did I put that? There we go. Put that on there. It's probably okay. 25. Yeah. So we'll have to make it again because it's just we haven't got the full video version. Just go 480. I'll easily fix that problem. Makes it slightly higher resolution, but again, it'll just make it 21. Yeah, there we go. So that fixes that problem quite easily. Go here, plonk that in there. Let's go again to upload. That one. Upload. Oh, I have to go off it now. Is it? It was MP4. Change video again. Load. Should be an MP4 file. Yeah, it's MP4. Oh, right, yeah, first. Apologies, just loading the wrong thing. There we go, that should work now. It's 21 meg, so should be fine. It's got stuck. Let's go in there. Okay, that's not Wi-Fi. Yeah. Okay, so we should now have that video in there, loaded in. Okay, that's the wrong video. I just change it. That one. Yeah, so let's put that one. Yeah, use apply. Save it and view, publish. We'll try it out. There's only going to be one of them that's changed so far, but we'll have a look. And it's got a marker, so the marker's already added. We can change the marker to whatever we want, but see, for now it's just set to that one. Right, just test this out. And again, you could have it just on the screen, right? So you can imagine if you're in a museum display, you're probably going to have you know, if it's an interactive in a museum, for example, you'll have some sort of interactive. And then when I hover over that video should play, which will be. So you can imagine you can make a scene come to life, right? So you could do one way this could be useful is like you could have like a still image of a. There you go. So it's playing the video now. Well, it's a bit too small, but if you got that scaled up correctly, you could. Then have it properly working. So that could be very useful, you know. You can take a photo of it again like usual. Yeah, let's take a photo of it, share that. But that, you can see the potential for that. So if I then make that so that the video here, which is at the minute too small really, is going to be lined up with the size of the image. Then you can see that it'll become a little bit more comprehensible. Save it, publish it again. Publish. And then yeah, let's just refresh it again. Ugh, go away. Oh, there we go. So we're going to load it up again. Should have come up with a bigger video when it actually tracks. Oh yeah, I need to get the view on. Get the view up. And do that. There you go. So it covers the actual the marker properly there. So you can see that would be really useful. Again, it probably needs to be a little bit bigger still, but with the sound as well. So that could be one way you can utilize video as well, which could be useful. And you could also bung in some 3D models here as well. So let's try do that, because that would be, you know, quite a useful thing. After it goes off, it will just loop back again. Alright, fine. So we could also add some 3D models in. So I'll just find one, like there was like a soldier type thing. I'll just load that in for now. It doesn't have to be, you know, necessarily kosher for this example, I guess. Not decor, not animals. There was like one which was, I could put a helmet in, but also, yeah, just got that. Why not? I suppose it makes sense. Just put this guy in there. So, and he should just be in there as well, somewhere. I'll scale him up a bit. Maybe in front of the video. There we go. Yep, make him a bit bigger. Just put him on the side here, so when it loads up, we want tracking. Oh, a bit not wide enough. And you can just put him like standing a little bit in front of there. So that again, it's just about more like creating a little bit of an interesting scene, right? So that should still be updated now. So we'll do that. Have a look at it, and it should now, when I go onto the image tracker, it should also show a little soldier when it gets tracked properly. Yeah. No, it's still loading. There you go. So you got that little soldier now tracked. I can still put the music on, sound on. Yeah, a little bit of a frame rate drop. But yeah, that works pretty well actually. You can see that can be really useful. Especially because what we're doing is a historical project, so you've got the ability to set up these scenes. So that would be one good way of thinking about how to implement that in your app, really. It's historical footage, and it should loop around. Just double check, so about 40 minutes, 40 seconds. Oh, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure that's just a setting you can add on there. We'll go off there though, I'll just reboot again anyway, so retrack it. So yeah, you could do something like having a living painting as well, which could be interesting. So like a painter's work comes to life and maybe it says about me. But yeah, right. So I think that's probably about enough for looking at this. So it gives you an idea. Some of the basics, stupid adverts, of what you could do with this. And again, it's more, you want to try and maximise the look of it, but also just make it, you don't want to make it too complicated either. Hopefully gives you an idea of how to use WebAR Studio. It's a cool little tool. It's like simple to use as well, which is useful.